Action. Hello and welcome back to How About That Crypto. You are watching Crypto Brothers Chat, all things crypto. So I'm here with my brother Charles Hughes, and Charles, what you thinking today? What you talking about?
What's up, everybody? Just looking at what's going on in the world today and everything going on with crypto recently in the last few weeks. I know you get news every day from Robert. I want to kind of stop and maybe focus on a couple areas and something I've been, just paying attention to, especially with the war. So with the war, there's a lot of to kind of dumb it down, base it down, and correct me if I'm wrong. Ukrainians are getting the country Ukraine is getting invaded by Russia, and as they're going, they need money, so they're getting donations from people that are sending cryptocurrency to them, and being able to use that cryptocurrency as currency. And then they got the Russian elites, which they call oligarch, right? I believe
Yep,
oligarchs,
yep.
and they are the ones that are making money off their own country, being accused of making money off their own country, the people profiting while the people suffer, and essentially getting cut off from banks and getting their stuff seized, their boats, their yachts, and everything's basically kind of freezing up on them, so they can't make any transactions, which is obviously hurting them to the point where they need to have some sort of currency. So they're going to they're going not blockchain, I'm sorry, they're going to crypto, which is typically like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is it had been popping the last few days. I think it reached to almost like 48,000 or 48,000 more. I don't think it topped 49,000, but it was interesting to see the hype behind it, and the whole fact of some people wanting to block it. You got regulation coming up and want to, ban it. I'm not block it, but ban it. So those are some interesting subjects, and I thought that the most interesting part was how it can be used as both good and bad, right? So the elites, they're being able to do their transactions potentially to cryptocurrency, putting all their money in as while they can, as as secretly as they can, because they're getting cut off by institutions, the crypto institutions like say Coinbase and whatnot. So those are some interesting things I thought that were going on, and I guess it kind of leads to the question: what do you think about the regulation coming up, and what have Biden's seems like Biden's administration is viewing cryptocurrency, because a lot of them are really saying illicit reasons, and this is like one thing they're going to expose, and try to say that also these elites that are Russians are basically being able to still be be rich and enjoy the riches, and basically spend use money, use some sort of currency. So what do you think about that? What is your ideas about the regulations? Do you think the regulations are going to be a big thing? Like it's a hot topic. So you had mentioned that Biden was going to, make some announcement soon regarding it. I don't think had that happened because of everything going on with the war, but
I think that how do I say this? So I've been actually reporting that's been the main focus of the last like
I'm
maybe
sure.
5 episodes of the news. And so I have some pretty like strong opinions about this, and they are opinions. There are some facts, but they are opinions. And my opinion that I don't really get to talk about when I'm reporting the news is, I saw the biggest naysayers in the U.S. government are Janet Yellen, who's the head of the Treasury Secretary, Elizabeth Warren, former presidential candidate, and I don't even know if she's a senator. Anyway, she's a congressperson, and she's like the champion of the banks, and now she's like anti-crypto, working with the biggest banker in the country, Janet Yellen, to like ban crypto. Like it just sounds like a big contradiction. So I kind of got a problem with that. But the biggest thing that really kind of got under my skin, and or maybe not under my skin, but like the part about okay, there are these group of people saying that crypto can be used to bypass sanctions. Crypto is used for money laundering. Crypto is used for human trafficking, and crypto is used for all these terrible things. One, I'm not sure that there's a whole lot of evidence that there's enough concern that that is happening in crypto for people to just be just saying, oh, I don't like it, we should ban it because of that. Really, there's a lot more of that happening in our current financial system with cash, and then people are getting around sanctions with gold and art. Like, why don't you stop the sale at Sotheby's? Like, don't let Sotheby's do any more auctions of high-end art. Like, it's a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. It's just kind of annoying. Anyway, so that's my opinion. But something that I just saw recently, which I thought was incredible, because it is just another person to like be against crypto, but like they're talking about how crypto can be used for sanctions, and we should really dig in on the scrutiny, and the type of restrictions they want to put into them will basically like prevent it from really getting big. And Hillary Clinton, former presidential candidate and former first lady, and did she serve in Congress? I don't think so. No, Secretary of State under Obama. And she came out and she's been against crypto like hardcore, and kind of just like Elizabeth Warren. And so she comes out and says, I'm really disappointed that the crypto exchanges aren't blocking Russian addresses. Like, I literally would love to expand on this for a second. Like, hold on, wait a minute. So you're saying that we can't control it, we can't do all this stuff, but then you turn around and expose the fact that there is a valve to shut people down. So what is it? Can we not control it, or do we have ways of controlling it? It's a contradiction. It drives me nuts. It's like, how can you say like, oh, we should ban it because we can't control it, but then, oh, you should have controlled it. It's like, okay, so someone can control it. Really, there is a lot more controls than what a lot of people think there are. And what she's talking about is Ukraine. I think it was the prime minister or the vice prime minister came out and said, Coinbase and all the crypto exchanges, we want you all to ban crypto wallets, like freeze all the wallets of all Russians, not just the oligarchs, not just the billionaires, not just the people on the sanction list, but all Russians, even innocent people who disagree with the war, ban them, freeze them, whatever. So
sanction them, yeah.
Yeah, Binance CEO came out, and so did the Coinbase CEO came out. Actually, there's a pretty long thread that I'll probably put in the news tomorrow, maybe, I don't know, but by the Coinbase CEO on Twitter, where they're saying that, like, look, we are working directly with U.S. intelligence agencies. We are freezing all of the wallets that are on the list of sanctions. We are doing everything we're supposed to be doing and more to make sure that we uphold sanctions. And you want us to do something that the law doesn't require? How is that even ethical or moral? Who do you think you are? Like, so that's my opinion. Yeah, man. Oh, shit. I don't know. I think
pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think that, and the other reality is, if crypto was being used to bypass sanctions on a government level or an industry level, then you would see major spikes. Not like the kind of spikes we're seeing. Like, there's not enough liquidity. There is not enough Bitcoin on exchanges for people to use Bitcoin in a major way. Maybe in a smaller way. Maybe like, they're saying, like, if you do small incremental things over time, otherwise, if you try to sell a bunch of Bitcoin or buy a bunch of Bitcoin, at the size that a country would need to, then you would see massive price fluctuations. And not only that, you would see it on the blockchain, because, and if you didn't watch, the episode that we just released on the lectures from MIT about blockchain and money, we discussed how there's no real privacy because you could see everything. So it's just a bunch of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt by incumbents who don't want to lose power. Like, that's all that is, in my opinion. So that's my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about removing central banking system. I mean, it is a threat. Like think about it.
Threat
That's
to
a
who?
huge threat to the people in power,
Right,
like you
right.
said. Yes,
Well,
I
and I
mean, I
mean,
totally agree, but it'll be interesting how this plays out because regulation's a huge thing. It's essential as much control as they could put on it, right? I mean, that's the whole idea. Be in the what they're talking to, it's all the language just I've noticed the language is starting to change too. It's like where they're doing it without under the like what do you call it, like cowboys and outlaws. I'm sorry, they're calling it outlaws, people that are, because Bitcoin's unregulated, it's outlaw.
hmm,
So there's talking about companies that aren't, filed with the SEC or outlaws. Just the language just really shifted
interesting. I haven't heard that.
into,
I didn't hear
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I was saw an article in regards to that. And it's just the idea is it's like you hear it all the time with media. It's the language. Listen to the type of language that they use. Like it starts shifting and shifting and shifting. And then that's when I feel like that's when you can kind of tell that, you know, they want to have some sort of control over it because it's like you said, like it's threatening their position in a big way, right? That's
So,
it's
so I
but
I I want to like kind of touch on something that you're talking about, and I want to make sure I say this for the record that my opinion is fluid and it is moved, but my opinion about the some of the people things that the people say, that's not so fluid. But my general opinion about all of this stuff is fluid. Like I'm learning. I'm keeping an open mind. I understand why we need anti-money laundering, and know your customer protocols in place so that we can watch the money in the event that there is fraud or Madoff Ponzi scheme. Do you think Madoff would have been able to get away with his Ponzi scheme if he was using crypto? Like, think about it, because his customers could look on the blockchain and look at his wallet address and see how much money he's got. And then they would realize that he ain't got no fucking money. So would he ever even been able to pull it off? Probably not. So like people who like my biggest challenge with all this is like the FBI has successfully gotten money back from the Colonial Pipeline hack. We just saw Razzlekahn and hippie boyfriend just like get pulled up or whatever they are. They just got pulled down for like $3.5 billion from a hack that went back. It went back a long time ago, but they're getting more and more sophisticated with tracking this stuff. And the reality is, if you implement, okay, you can implement regulation to try to control it, or you can ban it. Now, if they don't ban it and they put regulation to try to control it, which seems like what is going to happen, it doesn't sound like there's a direct ban going to happen, but a direct ban, and don't know, nobody like judge me when I say this, but a direct ban would actually be better, and for to maintain the argument that it is bad for society. If you regulate it and you regulate it so tightly, guess who is really going to be impacted? You and me. Because do you think that you right now could use Bitcoin to buy drugs? I mean, think about it. Do you think that the common person could use crypto to
nah.
buy drugs or participate in illicit transactions? No fucking way. Most of them are going on Coinbase, which they got through driver's license, your social security number. Like, there is not a lot of anonymity. And like when the FBI looks at all these transactions, they can trace the transactions and they can see a trail because it's all on the public blockchain. You'd have like the sophisticated, like these people, the Razzlekahn and her boyfriend, and I don't know his name, but Razzlekahn. How can you forget Razzlekahn? Like, did you ever watch that rap video?
No, I didn't.
Oh man,
They had to send it to me. Put it
it,
in the post below.
yeah, for real. I mean, this is like once you've seen it, you can't unsee it.
Okay.
What was it called? It was called the Crocodile of Wall Street. Crocodile.
The
There you go. Hold on.
crocodile.
I'm gonna just for our viewers, I'm gonna give them a little like,
Um,
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
oh, it's a chick. No, I never seen this video.
This is like the chick that was
The
scamming
chick
like
that
and laundering $3-4 billion.
she getting way too cocky right there.
Wait, ready?
Oh man, it just looks funny.
Wait, is this it?
I don't know.
Full official Razzlekahn.
Never forget, weirdest is most original. This song is for the entrepreneurs and hackers, all the misfits and smart slackers. Razzlekahn, the Versace better win. Come real far, but don't know where I'm heading. Motherfucking crocodile of Wall Street. Silver on my fingers and boots on my feet. Always be a goat, not a goddamn sheep. Email me, fuck your message at the beep. Beep, beep, beep. Spirit of a revolutionary, power of a dictator.
right
Left
there.
to be contrary, but I'm fly like a gator. I got pilot
Yo,
blood, I'm a real
$4.5
speaker.
billion.
Pirate riding the flood, badass money maker.
Wow, that's
Grandmother crocodile,
insane,
weirder
dude.
than an
Of course you'd make a
X-File.
video
So
doing
sexy
shit
when I
like
slither,
this.
sparkle on my little finger. Hell of a razzle, ear to ear, poised to throw a zinger. Playing on their worst fear. Razzlekahn, the Versace better win. Come real far, but don't know where I'm heading. Motherfucking
Dude, I
crocodile
like the
of Wall
beat.
Street. Silver on my
Motherfucking
fingers and
crocodile
boots on my
of Wall
feet.
Street.
Always be a goat.
It's amazing. Oh my
That's
gosh.
hilarious, dude.
Oh, where
How
did that video go?
ironic, right?
Wait, I gotta turn it off. Where'd it go? There it is. Where is it? Oh shit, I can't turn it off. I can't get her off of my screen. All right,
Fuck,
there we
man.
go. So anyway,
That's
like
awesome.
they discovered they discovered like a bunch of like super sophisticated ways to launder the money, and they got set up all these businesses and they're buying and selling merchandise. But the really interesting thing was they and this is all like public record, people can kind of go and look this stuff up, but they said that they traced the money into some black site, like black dark web site.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a replacement for the Silk Road, and it's a place
did
where
people find this
you can put your coins in, and it shuffles the coins, and then you get your coins out minus like a fee. Like, dude, if that's what I gotta do to participate in illegal activity, I mean, that's a lot of work, dude. I'd rather just like get a bunch of cash. And I don't know. I'm just my point is,
Well, that's
like,
the argument too with the adoption with Bitcoin. It's like drug dealers, right? He mentioned it in the last in the lecture that we had discussed previously about drugs. That's the big thing about dollars. You know, you get the ATMs that are 24/7. It's ironic that they talk about cryptocurrency being used for the same purpose. So
right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just I mean, based on what
how
I've
much?
read so far, even people in the Treasury Department are saying it's not being used for bypassing sanctions. And according to some statistics by Chain Analysis, which is a blockchain analysis company who works with the US intelligence agencies, by the way, they say that less than 1% of all transactions in crypto are illicit transactions. And how do they figure that out? Man, you know, maybe we should do a whole episode on that. But let's just like assume for a second that is somewhat accurate. Well, apparently 7% of global GDP is illicit transactions, and global GDP. Let's see what global GDP is. Global GDP is, I don't even know how to say that number. So 100,000 million billion, 80 trillion. So 7% of 8, and guess how much at its biggest crypto was $3 trillion. And anyway, the point is, like, we should not be worried about illicit transactions with crypto because it's a drop in the bucket compared to, why don't you try to solve illicit transactions in our current financial system before you try to just just knock on this new technology. It's a bunch of BS. It's just like people who either don't like it and want to go against it, or people who don't know what they're talking about. That's my opinion. Bam, right there. Yeah.
Boom.
You're either anti or you don't know what you're talking about. Otherwise, it's like you wouldn't say that. And then the other thing is this one interview that I saw, I thought it was really awesome. This dude was like, he was like, well, if you want to track the oligarchs, you have to go through all of these shell corporations. They have these shell corporations where they move their money through. That can take weeks to months to track the movement of money, but it doesn't take that long when you got open blockchain and everything's on there, you know? So anyway, that's what I've been thinking about it. I just spent a lot of time on this because I figured, like, you know, I sit in my chair and I mean, I have my clients sit in my chair and they bring up these things and these important points to them, and they're the type of people that, you know, they're very educated and they're very conservative when it comes to money, and so they ask these questions and they want to understand this stuff before they accept it as being legitimate. And so that's how I kind of decide how to do stories is, you know, what are these people saying? You know, what are their problems with it? You know, the main thing is environment and illicit transactions. That's the main thing. And then there's after that, then stability. The people who, you know, some people are more interested in the money side and they're like, well, what's the stability? Like, you know, what is backing it? And but yeah, those are the three main topics. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think that this war stuff? I mean, you bring up a good point. Like the point that I think the important point that you're kind of touching on, in my opinion, is that what's happening right now, it's a good opportunity for the anti-crypto people to create regulation, even if it's unfounded, even if I'm right about everything I'm saying. And I might not be right based on my research. That's how I understand it. But like, let's say I'm not right or whatever. It doesn't matter if I'm right or not. And what matters is there are people who don't like it, whether they are right or not, to not like it because of the reasons they say, or they're just finding reasons to not like it. That is their opportunity to really push the government to say, let's ban this. Let's put the against it. Do you think that? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think the outcome is going to be?
I don't know. I think it's very interesting what's going on with the war, and that's definitely a narrative that's being played. And that's was kind of to my point, more of obviously non-biased and open, not picking a side, but because I feel like it is a hard one to get right if we want to regulate it and not ban it. So I think the direction is there are people that want to ban it, like you said, Elizabeth Warren, and so the senator, I forget what state, but she's definitely wants to ban it, and her push is the illicit activity. And then that's just kind of one more thing on top of it. Is the now it's the can like you know, it's just another way of saying can criminals get away with this, but like rich people, rich crazy criminals, you know. So it's like a whole nother level, like, oh, if they could do it, you know, why, you know, is it going to hurt it? But obviously the sentiment as of right now, it's still kind of almost being compared as a gold, you know. That's a big test right now, what's going on, because they have both been going up since the whole war, stable, or at least stabilizing. And you see that you know, recently Bitcoin had just pushed up from its original high. I mean, not original high, but as of late, it kind of pushed a little bit higher, which you're seeing momentum of it, and especially with the beginning. But like you said, if I don't know the statistics on it, you know, basically the oligarchs and, you know, using it for people trying to help with the war and funding it in different ways, or just using it in general in different countries, because it's not just our country. I mean, there is a whole world out there that's doing it as well. So that's another aspect I think that sometimes I kind of get away from. It's like, this is happening all over the world, not just US matters because we live in it, and we're trying, you know, we have these in a way centralized place where we can do exchanges like Coinbase and Kraken and whatnot, and Webbull. So it's very interesting, the dynamics of cryptocurrency and its state. It's I can't really I think that hurts it. It definitely hurts it. It gives it a better rap. I mean, it started with Silk Road, right? I mean, that's how cryptocurrency was really like, oh, what's cryptocurrency? Unless you really were like, dad back in the day. I remember him talking about it a while ago, like really long time ago. So he knew about it, but he never obviously invested in doing anything about it when you could still do it on CPUs. So it was definitely out there and known, but now its adoption of coming from that really sparked after Silk Road. It really popped, and then it started to catch ground after a while with the pandemic. Basically, I think the pandemic was a big boost for cryptocurrency, and then the injection with the Fed and with the trillions of dollars with the Fed helping with the market and trying to stabilize it. And then now it's kind of being looked at as like, is it legal tender? I really I'm hopeful that it's going to go in a direction good. There's obviously going to be some sort of government control, and we'll kind of see.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like so Bitcoin's back down to 40,000. So I don't know where it's going to go, if it's going to keep going down or if it's going to go back up, or maybe there will be some relative stability in that 40 to 50 range, or 38 to 50 range, 48 range, whatever.
It definitely spiked. It spiked, and now it's receding. And they mentioned that with Ukraine's transactions within Ukraine and Russia, they've seceded since their spikes. So everything's kind of going down. And that could be part of it. Like, the hype kind of died down, and now they're talking about sanctions, which could have hurt it, sanctioning Bitcoin. So
yeah, so I feel like the world is seeing it start. I think the world really saw the use case actually before the sanctions. I think the world saw the use case with the Freedom Convoy in Canada, when the Canadian president Trudeau used emergency powers, which is like a wartime thing, to enacted it, and then he used that to freeze the accounts of all the protesters.
yeah, first time in history.
And this is, I would love for somebody to leave a comment to tell me what they think about this. But he also froze the accounts of people who donated to the protesters. And the defense minister of Canada came out and said, you're funding terrorism. You're financing terrorism by donating to these people. So they use that power to freeze their accounts. And then everyone's like, well, fuck you, I'm going to go to Bitcoin. And then they're like, okay, well, we're going to freeze your wallets. So they made all the exchanges freeze the wallets. And then people went into an uproar thinking that the exchanges shouldn't do it. And the CEOs of the exchanges came out and they're like, we will follow the law. So here's how to take your crypto off the exchange. And they're like, hey, look, your crypto, we're going to follow the law. Like, we operate within a framework of rules. Like, we have licenses and registration and whatever, and we want to continue to do business in this country. So if you're part of this thing, then you shouldn't keep your coins on our exchange, and here's how you do it. And it was kind of cool because they were kind of like having their cake and eat it too. They were like, hey, we're going to stay in business, but we're also going to help you keep control of your money outside of the government's control. And while I don't know that it was really that effective, I think it was effective to an extent, but I don't think it was super effective because, like we talked about in the lecture, the lecture club with the Gary Gensler class, the MIT class, we talked about merchant adoption. Like, it's important that a digital currency is only going to be used if it has merchant adoption, but it doesn't have enough merchant adoption. So these people couldn't even use this Bitcoin. So I don't know if that was super effective, but the very interesting thing is Canada has a physical backed ETF. So it means that you can buy on the stock market an ETF that actually owns Bitcoin. and they saw record inflows more than they've had since when they first opened it, which is always like a massive amount of money going in. But since then, they hadn't really seen this kind of action. So, that's kind of like the people in Canada saying, hey, like, I get it. I get it. I get why you want Bitcoin. But I also think that people saw that the government can control it. And so, like, I kind of think that people on either side of the coin are like, oh, I get it. Like, maybe it's not that difficult for the government to control it. I don't think it is. I think people are tripping if they think that they're going to get away with crime using crypto. I think people are delusional. I think they haven't done enough of their homework. Or you're super sophisticated and you know how to use all the stuff like Razzlekahn. Like, if you know how to do the kind of stuff that they did, then yeah, you can do it. But guess what? They got caught too. And so kind of like my point is, like, I just don't see the evidence. I don't see it. What I see is a trend going in the direction of the feds learning how to take care of it, and I just and catching criminals, and criminals have to get more and more and more sophisticated, which they do no matter what. And like
Always a step ahead.
And the head of the ECB said something really interesting. She said, like, we're not going to ban crypto because criminals find a way around bans. Instead, we're going to leave it and we're just going to figure out to regulate it. We're going to find ways. And right now they proposed a rule, and like, we should probably wrap it up soon, but there's all these rules I don't get into it details, but there's all these rules proposing, they're being debated. We'll see what happens. And like, some of these rules are de facto bans, so they could really crush crypto in the jurisdictions in which these rules are being adopted. But some of them are not, and some of them will enable for honest crypto adopters to continue to flourish. And I think early adopters will still be rewarded. That is not financial advice. And I think they will be rewarded. I don't think that down the road, after all these regulations get in, I do think that prices will normalize, and I don't think they'll fluctuate like they do. They could rise slowly over time, but I do think that it's not like a company. You're not buying stocks in a company that has profits and you're going to get distribution of dividends. You know what I mean? Like, so right now, the only reason why you can make money in crypto is because the world hasn't figured out what it's worth yet. And they're still trying to figure it out. And it's not going to be figured out until we got all these rules. And the rules will either say it's not worth that much because I can't use it because the rules are too strict, or they're going to say this is worth a lot of money because I can use this for whatever use case. So that's how I've been like, that's kind of my stance on all this. It's like, we're in the midst of price discovery, like, we don't know, it's all comes down to the government.
It also, yeah, and like you said, adoption, but as long as that, I feel like when it comes to the cryptocurrency and the conversation with regulation and everything, there's going to be a lot of these cryptos that are just going to fall off. They're going to be worthless. So the main ones are as we all know, are the main ones. I don't know whatever happened to Litecoin, because Litecoin was literally like the second Bitcoin in a sense, but like Bitcoin, Ethereum, those are the main ones that I feel like, are if there's going to be any like ones that are going to last, it's definitely got to be those two. If not a few other ones that have worked on their encryption levels and speed, because that's really, the whole thing is cost when it comes to speed, and their encryption is better, more encrypted, or cryptography. Can't get it out.
Yeah, I got you. Cryptography.
Yeah, cryptography. So
well,
yeah,
there's the
it's all about
competitors to the Ethereum, so I think they'll do it. But I also think that there's going to be interoperable chains that connect the main chains. Like, you have layer 1 chains, and they have to be connected by something, because we're going to live in a multi-chain world. There's not going to be like, if you want to move your money, if you want to move your Starbucks rewards over, and like, you want to trade them for Delta Sky Miles, and Starbucks rewards built on Ethereum, but Delta built on Solana. Well, you're going to have a bridge to cross those things if you ever want to trade your Starbucks rewards for Delta Sky Miles. And that's the future I think we're looking at. And And so, yeah, I do think you're going to have like blue chips. I think you're going to have your standard operating, and then the value of the network. You're really going to like experience value from the network as it expands. But anyway, I think we're kind of going into a whole nother conversation here, but
Yeah,
yeah.
we could keep going, but
But yeah,
definitely. That's an
so you,
interesting. It's very interesting. I like the idea where it's going in the conversation too, because it's a really just wait and see.
yeah. So you got any last points on this, all this like Russia sanctions, regulatory risk, illicit transaction FUD, etc.?
I'm just gonna close it out with there is that problem, but there's always been that problem with illegal activity. You know, you got like I've discussed before previously, you got the ATM 24-hour system, you got cash currency, which a lot of drug dealers use in a sense, a lot of drug people do. It's just another way of kind of making it look bad. And it does have it. It's the media does a good job at kind of painting a particular picture, the picture they feel they want. But if you look at it at all angles, there's a lot of benefits too. And the technology behind it even is very beneficial. So I feel like if anything's gonna go on with everything, you know, currency, I feel like it's really just which ones are going to survive. I believe in cryptocurrency personally. And I honestly feel like the whole conversation with Bitcoin and gold is because you can kind of look at it like there's a possibility where you're going to have Bitcoin as gold, as a digital gold, where it's going to be, you know, you could basically may possibly take loans out on your gold, which is you can't do with your typical currency, right? So that's how it could potentially be with this whole era of cryptocurrency, but getting rid of it because we're going into the digital age. Why not? Would that only make sense? And you made a point about Starbucks and different entities, like even Shiba Inu, for instance, AMC, maybe that'll be their pure currency, right? So it's one of those things where it could have its own personal use, own typical use, and then you have it like we have the greenbacks and the fiat currency system, which would transition to kind of the same system. And then having physical gold, you have digital gold. So it's a pretty interesting concept, and it's pretty cool and exciting to kind of be there at the forefront. And like we're gonna learn very soon in the next few years. I hope, you know, where crypto is going to go. If it's going to be one of those hypes and dies out, or is it going to be the next big thing? So a lot of people believe it's a revolutionary time. And it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, it's definitely some crazy times, that's for sure.
Yeah, all that at this time that we're going through this war and everything, and the whole shift in every politics and everything is just pretty interesting time. So yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching, listening. Please leave a comment below if you thought that anything that one of us said was awesome, or you thought anything one of us said was ridiculous. Please let us know. Leave a comment below. Give us 5 stars if you're listening on podcast, and follow us if you're watching on YouTube. Click subscribe and click the bell. It helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And until next time, hodl on.
Peace.